गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं कपित्तजम्बूफलसारभक्षितम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम्. Swami, you can say your prayer.
Yes. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namasturyaya Chandraya, Mangalaya Budhaya Cha, Guru Shukra Shanibhyascha, Rahuve Ketave Namaha. Hari Om.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's welcome Dr. Ramki Murugan, who is a retired professor. Let's hear out the introduction of the esteemed guest speaker by our Dr. Soumya.
We welcome Dr. Ramki Murugan for our sessions. And Dr. M. Ramki Murugan is MBA and PhD in strategic marketing and pursuing PhD in astrology at ICAS, New Delhi. Chennai chapter under the guidance of Mrs. Dr. Gayatri Devi Vasudeva, Bangalore. 26 years of experience in the industry with 12 years experience in academics as a faculty in B school, 67 years and a retired professor, and now is pursuing astrology. Thank you so much for coming over, sir.
Thank you.
Some of you, thank you, Soumya, for that introduction. Some of you might be aware, or not aware also of the fact that Dr. Gayatri Devi Vasudeva is the daughter of the most famous astrologer of India who revived astrology, Dr. B.V. Raman. Okay, so that apart, Dr. Ramki Murugan, I know him for several years now, and I also know his commitment to astrology. And when he said, I have nice, exciting astrological patterns I've noticed in the horoscopes of IAS and IPS, he said he wants to make a presentation. And then I thought, why not? Let my students benefit from it. And so I've invited him. Okay. So over to Dr. Ramki Murugan. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you so much, sir. It's my greatest pleasure today to join along with your students in my presentation. It's a great privilege. In fact, you have introduced me to your forum. So, in fact, let me start with the presentation. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Screen is clear?
Yes.
Okay.
It's clear.
So the topic is the planets which determine a native to be an IAS, Indian Administrative Service, or IPS, Indian Police Service. Okay. Normally the candidates appear in UPSC every year. Quite number of students are appearing. And out of the students appeared, it's only 0.2% of the total candidates get selected. Now let us see the table of the number of candidates who appeared for the UPSC exam from 2006 to 2022. And let's see how many cleared the exam, which are the details are as follows. I have taken the statistics of the 15-year period. Okay.
It's surprising that it's not even 1%.
Yes, not even 1%, not even 0.5%.
My God.
2006 onwards. 2006, you see, it's only about 4 lakh. And now 2022, it's about nearly 12 lakh students. And the candidates appear preliminary half of it. And the number of students who qualified for the main exam still 1/4 or 2/5 only. And appear for main exam still less. So invariably, out of 10 lakh or 9 lakh candidates appear, around 1,000 candidates are qualified to be IAS or IPS, depending on the ranking. So this is real statistics. There are some gaps in which I don't have the exact numbers. That's the reason I have given it some gap. Okay. Now, what are the combinations required to be a successful candidate in IAS, IPS? Thumb rule, as every student of astrology knows, that the Lagna and the Lagna should be shared. The Lagna signifies the aptitude of the native, not personal assets. So everyone will agree the importance of Lagna and Lagna Lord. Both Rasi and Navamsa are. Okay. The signs Leo and Cancer are royal signs, and the Lord's Sun and Moon are royal planets, also known as king and queen of all the planets. Okay. Therefore, Sun and Moon have a prominent role to make as an IAS or IPS also. The significance of the houses, namely the other houses, for example, 6th and 8th and 12th houses, for long has been instilled in our minds that the lords of the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses are bad, and they spoil the house wherever they are posited. They also spoil the houses whose lords join the 6th, 8th, and 12th from the Ascendant. This is normally practiced by any teacher or students of astrology. But actually, this is completely wrong. Dr. V.V. Raman had repeatedly cautioned us in his writings, if the concerned lord joins 6th, 8th, or 12th house in Navamsa chart from the position of Lagna or Lagna, then it is bad. So one has to see how the Navamsa, the lord of 6th and 8th, 12th houses are placed. Okay. And then the 6th house is 9th house reckoned from the 10th house, or it is a 10th house if counted from the 9th house. So the importance of 6th, 8th, and 12th houses are very significant, especially the service matters are concerned. The 6th house indicates like job or promotion or extension of service, etc. But as it indicates diseases, enemies, loans, etc. Yet it is very important for service matters. Likewise, the 8th house is misunderstood by many of us. Supposing the lord of the 10th house joins the 8th, what is the general understanding is that the native's professional career will be very ordinary. But in practical, for many natives, it is not so. People with such combinations can become HR, head of the departments, or even IAS officers. The 8th house is 11th as reckoned from the 10th house. Hope everyone will agree. The 11th house signifies the source of income, wealth, accomplishment of ambition and desires. Thus, the 8th house represents the ambitions connected with the service. So, the lord of 6th, 8th, 12th are important. Another thing, the 8th house shows the nature of the work, what we'll have to do in this profession. Like the relationship with Lagna and the 11th house is treated as auspicious for all purposes. Because there is general rule that any planet placed in the 11th house is always supposed to do good. So the relationship between the 8th and 10th house should also be regarded as auspicious for all the purposes of service matters. So like Lagna with the 11th house or 11th house lords, similarly, we have to consider the houses of 8th and 10th house and the lords. Next is the 10th house signifies the work, and the 8th house decides the earnings through that work. Because both are very equally important. Okay. Since the 8th and 10th house are directly related to each other, it should be on our mind that while analyzing the livelihood of any native, we have to take these houses into our consideration, right? Now let us see the importance or signification of 9th and 10th houses for IAS aspirants. Okay. The 9th and 10th most house is for we, the 9th house is not strong. Hope everyone will agree. If the luminaries, sun and moon are connected with the 9th house or its lord in one way or another, the native has chances to become as an IAS. Of course, the other factors must also contribute.
Hello, doctor, you have to unmute your mic. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I've done it. There must be a link between 9th and 10th house, which means that one's profession is supported by fortune. Okay. This is what called in astrological parlance. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. Some of the important links let me give. Sun or moon occupy 10th house in association with the lords. The sun is exalted in 9th and the moon is in 10th. If the 9th lord occupies 9th, its own house, and the 10th lord in 10th, for example, for Scorpio Ascendant, the sun is in 10th and the moon is in 9th. Okay. If the 10th lord joins 9th in association with the 9th lord, or vice versa. So the relationship between 9th and 10th lord is very, very important. If there is a mutual exchange between the lords of 9th and 10th house also, very good. Again, the 9th, 10th lord conjoin at a favorable place, Trigona or Kendra, and aspect 9th and 10th houses respectively. This is possible for Aries Lagna people. If Jupiter and Saturn conjoin in Lagna, they will 9th and 10th house and will lend their aspect for these houses. The 10th and 9th house conjoin in the 4th or even Lagna. That also will help the native. The 9th and the 10th lords aspect each other's house, and aspect mutually. But one should remember that the other factors also must be considered. So you have to have the holistic approach. But these are all important, the relationship between 9th and 10th houses. Okay.
Even Maharishi Parashara.
Yeah.
Even Maharishi Parashara has said something very high about the 10th lord in the 9th. He says, if a person is born in a royal family, the person will become a king. And if not, he will become equal to a king. These IAS officers and IPS officers are almost like kings only. As you rightly pointed out in the beginning, this is more to do with the kingly nature of the work.
Yes. Thank you, sir. And let us see the Rahu Ketu significance for IAS aspirants. These planets give results based on the past lives, good or bad deeds. Okay. The dispositions of Rahu and Ketu are called karmic controlling planets. Now let us see some favorable links of karmic planets here. If Rahu or Ketu joins the royal sign, naturally Leo or Cancer, the karmic control planet will itself become a luminary. Okay. One of the karmic control planets must be related with any of the luminary, either sun or moon, either by conjunction or by aspects. Okay, there should be some link between the royal sign Leo or Cancer or its Lagna with Rahu or Ketu. Okay. If not linked with luminary, it must be linked with Lagna or 9th or 10th house, but the success may be slightly delayed. Okay. Another important aspect is aspirants also should have Venus favorability. If Venus is conjoined with Sun or moon or with the ninth or 10th lord, chances are bright for one to become successful in IAS, subject to other conditions apply. Okay. Venus should join or aspect or own the 10th or 9th house or should be associated with the luminaries. Okay. The IAS officers are given a decent bungalow, car with the driver, have personal assistants and servants to assist both in office and in houses, etc. And all these luxuries are only possible if Venus is strong enough. So Venus is important for all these aspirants. So the one by one. The 10th and 9th houses must be strong or related with each other. A strong lagna. The 10th and 8th houses may be related with each other, and if so, it should be considered as an auspicious factor for success in IAS. At least one of the luminaries, namely Sun or Moon, must have a concern with the lagna or 10th, 9th, or the 8th house. Karmic control planets, namely Rahu and Ketu, must have a say with the luminaries or with 9th or 10th lords. Likewise, Venus plays a very pivotal role for all IAS, and it should be related with Sun or Moon or the 10th or 9th lords. Okay. Now let us analyze some case study. I have just actually brought 4 examples of cases. Okay. This one, Mr. Anuj Bishnat, okay, he was born on 2nd May 1957, 12:38 p.m. and so on. Okay, the details are given, birth details are given, Gorakhpur, UP, and so on. It's based on Lyra and Amsa. Here, all the star lords and stars are given. Okay, let me go and the analysis of this horoscope. Okay. This native actually scored a very high rank, 2nd rank, okay, in the final examination, okay, after the interview. Let us take the 10th house. As we already discussed, the importance of 9th house, 10th house, Venus, Rahu, Ketu, and Avamda. These things. Okay. Now let's take the 10th house. Here, the 10th house has been occupied by the exalted moon. Okay, the lord of the 10th house, Venus, conjoins with the Lagna Lord Sun, right? And the 11th Lord Mercury in the 10th house. So just watch the 10th house. Okay, Lagna is a Leo, Ascendant, Leo, Ascendant, and you see the 10th house, moon is there. Okay, now the 9th house. 9th house has got the exalted Sun in association with the 10th Lord Venus and the 11th Lord Mercury, which means the Lord of Lagna, 10th and 11th are associated in Bhagyasthana under the aspect of the Jupiter. Jupiter aspects as its 9th aspect, right? The who is the owner of the 5th and 8th houses and from Lagna. Now let us see the ascendant strength. The 5th and 8th house Lord Jupiter joins Lagna in a friendly sign. Right? The occupation of Jupiter in Lagna has bestowed a very handsome and attractive physique as well as personality to the native. You know, general a rule like Jupiter or Mercury placed in Lagna is always very favorable to any native. Now let us see the Navamsa. And the 10th Lord Venus occupies Swachetra, okay, in Navamsa, okay. Of the 10th house, occupant of the 10th house, Moon obtains Vargotam and is 9th from Lord of Lagna, the Sun, correct? The 9th Lord Mars, we are discussing in Navamsa, right? The 9th Lord Mars also falls into Swachetra in Navamsa chart, and the Lagna Lord Sun is 11th from the 9th Lord. Let us take the Jupiter, the 8th Lord Jupiter, who also owns the 5th house, obtains Kshetra again in Navamsa. Correct? The ninth lord and 10th houses are very well disposed in the Navamsa chart. So it gains a lot of strength for both ninth and 10th lords. Now let us take the karmic planets, namely Rahu and Ketu. Dispositors of Rahu and Ketu are called karmic planets, karmic control planets. In this chart, the KCP are shortly called as karmic control planet Venus and Mars. At least luminary should join karmic control. In this chart, Venus, okay, Venus joins the luminary sun in the ninth house. Correct? Now let us take Venus. Related with the ninth house, sun. In case this is miracle Jain, our birth details are given 14 hours, certain minutes. Lucknow, based on Lahiri Ayanamsa, Bealan, Babu, 7 days, 3 months, 3 days. All these other details are given. Let us analyze her chart. This lady is very successful at IAS, and unfortunately, she had a failed marriage due to a wide, gap in status. Of the marriage was a love marriage only. The reason you will find that the combination of Mars, Venus with the Jupiter in mutual Kendra and opposition of Mars and 7th Lord Saturn may be seen influence. So let us not get into the marital aspect of it. Okay. Anyhow, just a brief understanding about this marriage got a broken marriage, right? Okay. Now the 10th house you take. A lot of the 10th house joins in 10th itself. This is actually Lagna is Cancer Lagna. And naturally the 9th house law, sorry. A 10th, I'm talking about 10th house, I'm sorry. The Lord of the 10th house joins the 10th itself. Okay, Venus 8, 9, 10. I'm sorry, Mars, exactly. The Lord of 9th house, Mars, extremely sorry, 10th house. The Lord of the 10th house joins in 10th itself. Okay, Mars in Mars house with the Lord of the 9th house, Jupiter, and Lord of the 11th house. So the conjunction of the 9th, 10th, and 11th in the 10th house is seen here very powerful. So all 9th, 10th, 11th, 9th house, right? 10th house. So besides, Mars is a yoga karaka for Cancer Lagna. And then it forms Purusha Raja Yoga. That is a very important yoga as far as profession is concerned. Now, 9th house Jupiter, the Lord of the 9th house Jupiter in conjunction with the Lord of the 10th house along with the 11th Lord Venus. So the 9th is strong enough. The 8th house, the Lord of the 8th house Saturn is exalted in 4th house. Yoga. Saturn is exalted in any Kendra to offers that. And the aspects 9th, 10th, and 11th. Correct? Yes, the lords of the year, 9th, 10th are related with each other, either by association or by aspect. 10th house with the 8th house, right? As it was said earlier, the 8th house is not less important than the 10th and the 9th. With regard to administrative services are considered. Here, you see the 8th lord is connected to the 9th, 10th, and 11th lords. The lord is Saturn and is connected very, very much. Okay. Now the ascendant Lord Moon joins the 8th house. But the ascendant is slightly weak as Ketu is Lagna. Though the Lord Moon, so Gotham, in Navamsa also it was Aquarius. And this weaker legs caused poor health and kept her devoid of material bliss also. The luminous, namely sun and moon, must be related to concerning house, that is 8th or 9th or 10th or their lords. Correct. The sun here occupies the ninth house. Correct. Also, the sun here occupies the 9th house, only house. And if you analyze the karmic control planets, Saturn and Moon are karmic control planets in this chart. Okay. So one of the KCP is Moon itself. Right? Ketu is there in Cancer. So now the that house Cancer Moon is itself a karmic control planets. Now let us get into the Navamsa chart. The Lord of the 10th house Mars obtains Vargotama in Navamsa. The Lord of Moon also Vargotama sign. And Saturn also does the same as well. The Mercury falls in the sign of Swachetra, exaltation Navamsa chart, as you see here. So the Navamsa chart is very strong, having 3 planets in Vargotama and the one in Navamsa, Swachetra Navamsa. The moon is in the 11th from the 10th Lord Mars, from the 9th Lord Jupiter, and 5th from the 8th Lord Saturn. Students can actually analyze slowly because I have some technical inconvenience to explain any any tool with that. Okay. Venus. Now let us discuss the Venus. Venus occupies 10th house with 9th and 10th Lord Jupiter and Mars respectively. And as we already discussed, that Venus should be connected in any form with the 9th or 10th Lord or with any luminary. And here you see the connection among the okay. Another case. I have taken so far 4 case studies, as I told you. This is the case, the 3rd case study. Mukul Singhal, IAS 29 November 1962. Okay, the birth details are given. You can go through the chart. Now we'll analyze this chart. This is the horoscope of native one posted right after passing out in back from IIT Kanpur. He served there briefly and prepared for IAS. He secured 17th rank in 1986 UPS. Let us discuss his horoscope. Let us take the first house. Out of the house, here is the Lord Lagna. The Lord 10th house Lord is Lord of 3rd and 10th house is Venus. The Venus is placed in 5th house. The Lord of the 9th house, Mars joined with. Thus, the lords of the 9th and 10th houses are under mutual aspect and both influence each other. The Lord of the 9th house, Mars joins the 11th house, okay, which is 7th from the position of Lord of the 10th house, Venus. So, 9th, 10th houses are related with each other. Correct? The relationship between 9th house and 10th houses should be either end of lords or mutual aspects between 9th and 10th, or their conjunction at a beneficial position, like Kendra, Trikona, have important recent success in IAS. Now let's get into the 8th house analysis. Lord of the 8th house, 10th Lord Venus, okay, in the 5th house, under the aspect of Mars 9th Lord, Yogaraka. Thus, the lords of the 8th ninth and 10th houses are related with each other in the inner trikona by conjunction and aspect. Now, this is sun moon that there is. The Lagna Lord Sun aspects the 10th. Sun is placed in the fourth house. It aspect in the 10th house. Correct? So 8th house has been influenced by any luminary. This is one of the conditions. Correct. Now, Ascendant, the Lagna Lord Sun joins a quadrant who is hemmed between benefic planets, namely Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury, which offers Subhakartari Yoga. Besides, the Ascendant receives the Jupiter's ninth aspect also, and hence the line is very powerful with me. Now let us discuss Rahu here, control planets. Here, the Sun and Saturn are karmic control planets, and the Sun aspects is 10th house. As said earlier, one of the karmic control planets should be a luminary, or it should conjoin or aspect any of the luminary and you find here. Correct? Let us go to the Navamsa chart. Because as we already did, considering the 9th house, 10th house, 8th house, 12th, we have to analyze the chart in Navamsa position also. And sometimes in a moon chart, Dr. V.V. Raman normally says that one should analyze the chart besides analyzing the regular method, one should also analyze through moon chart. So now here, let us discuss the Navamsa chart of this chart. This native. The Lord of the 10th house, Venus, obtains Swachetra Navamsa in association with the exalted Saturn. Correct? The 5th and 8th Lord, Jupiter, is exalted in Navamsa. But the 9th house Lord Mars is not well disposed, as you see here. It is posited in enemy's house Venus, which caused a few obstructions, and the native had to do other services before joining IAS. Now let us go to the moon. The moon, 10th house. Just go to the moon and see the 10th house. Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus are placed, where Venus owns the 8th, Jupiter owns the 10th, Saturn owns the 11th and 12th. Okay, the connection is given. The Sun joins 9th, while the 9th Lord Mars retrograde is 7th from Jupiter, having mutual aspect with the 10th house as reckoned from the moon. Okay, this is the analysis from the moon. Now, the Venus. We already discussed the importance of Venus and playing a pivotal role to be a successful course of comforts. So if Venus is not related to either 10th or 9th house or very luminary, the concerning officers may not lead a comfortable life. Okay. Now, the fourth chart, Mr. K. Annamalai IPS. Now is a person in Tamil Nadu, India. He is Tamil Nadu State President of BJP. Okay, his details are given in this chart. Right? Now let us analyze one by one. This is a last chart I am analyzing. The 10th and 9th houses, because the importance I already discussed, 9th house, 10th house, 9th Lord, all are very important, in spite of 8th and 12th and 6th. The Lord of the 10th house, Mercury, is the 9th with the luminary Sun and the natural benefic Venus. Okay. Ascendant is here is Virgo Ascendant. Lord of the 9th house, Venus, is posited in its own house. So the lords of the 9th in 9th house with Sun and Rahu. Rahu is already there to expand or amplify the results. Besides, Rahu is the natural benefic house Venus, which adds strength to the native. The conjunction of 9th, 10th lords is beneficial here. Now let us go to the 8th house. The lord of the 8th house, Mars, okay, is placed in Libra, whose owner is Venus, and he is also the owner of the ninth house. The fifth house Lord Saturn is exalted and retrograde. You find the eighth Lord Mars aspects the lords of ninth and tenth by its eighth aspect. Okay, thus the lords of 8, 9, and 10 are connected with each other. So there should be a connection with the eighth lord along with the ninth or 10th or there. The sun, the lord of the 12th house here posited in ninth house, conjoining with the ninth house, namely Venus and Mercury. And of course, Mercury is another, and aspected by the eighth lord Mars. Okay. Now, this eighth lord Mars by its eighth aspect, correct? The moon, the lord of the 11th house, is in 11th itself, and it is Lord Mars. Know that any planet will be beneficial if it is placed in 11th house in just as general rule, and here the luminary moon itself is the. Now let us go talk about the ascendant. The ascendant Mercury is in 9th, in a friendly house of Venus, joining with Sun and Rahu in Navamsa. And in Navamsa, the Mercury is in another friend's house, Saturn. Thus, the Sun is karmic control planets. Here, the Venus and Mars are karmic control planets. The Venus itself is the ninth lord and conjoins luminous Sun, where as a Mars aspects the both luminary and the light lord from its eighth aspect. Thus, there's a relationship is established with karmic control planets and luminary. Venus. We already discussed Venus as to why it is very important for these aspirants. Here, the Venus is very comfortable as being the ninth lord in the ninth house itself, with the luminary Sun and the Lagnaadhipati Mercury amplified by the Rahu and aspected by the eighth lord Mars. You see that? Mars, it's the eighth aspect. Now, in Navamsa, the 10th Lord Mercury is posited in a friendly house, Saturn, in Navamsa, okay? The luminary Sun is placed in another luminary moon house in Navamsa. The moon is placed in his friendly house, Jupiter, which is moon Trikona house. The 8th Lord is also placed in a friendly house, Jupiter, with the 5th retrograde. Now, as always, B.V. Raman says about the moon chart analysis. Here, let us take moon chart. The 10th Lord Mars is the owner of the 5th house also from the moon. Okay, the Yoga is posited in 4th house, though it is retrograde, conjoins with the 5th Lord Saturn retrograde, and the Mars is aspecting the Mercury in 11th house. Right? The Sun is posited in 11th house, conjoins 4th and 11th Lord Venus, aspecting the 5th house. Hope you will find the analysis. The Venus, the Lord of the 4th and 11th house from the moon, posited in 11th house with luminary Sun. The 9th Lord Jupiter is placed in Mula Trikona, though retrograde, aspected by Saturn retrograde, the Lord of the 7th and 8th. Okay. So my final conclusion, to ascertain a native becomes an IAS, IPS. Number one, the royal planets, namely the Sun and the Moon, must be. Sun and Moon play a major role in bringing success in politics also. And many natives whose Sun plays an important role in bringing them as doctors too. And so one should not conclude or generalize that Sun in 10th will bestow a native as an IAS also. Similarly, Moon also denotes many professions, for your information. I noticed the Orissa former Chief Minister Biju Patnaik, Naveen Patnaik's father, if I remember rightly, his Lagna Lord Leo, I mean son, placed in 8th house, and he was a very successful chief minister during those days. Since Venus represents comforts, luxuries, vehicles, bungalow, etc., servants, and so on, as these facilities are connected with IAS jobs, it plays a sub-paragraph for any native to become IAS. Venus either should join one of the luminaries or the 9th or the 10th lords. In case Venus does not have any connection with the luminaries or the 9th or 10th lords, one should see if Venus joins the 8th lord or Lagna or the royal planets fall in the constellation or in Navamsa of Venus. Somewhere or other, there should be some link with either royal planets or the 8th lord, 9th, 10th lord. Okay. Fourth condition, the 9th and 10th lords must be favorably placed, or these houses should be occupied by exalted planets or luminaries. The lords of the 9th and 10th may have a mutual exchange of houses, or one's lord should be in the other house with the other's lord. These planets may join with each other, or may aspect their own houses, or aspect the house of each other. So there should be a link connection between the 9th and 10th houses. The lord of the 9th in the 10th, or 10th and 9th, or in the 4th, having mutual aspect, or 10th lord in 10th, and the 9th lord in the 4th, or the 5th lord in the 9th. See the Kendra Adipati and the Trikona Adipati, all this. So there should be some link between these three. Or the 9th and 10th lord in the 5th, etc., will bestow success in IPS. There may be dozens of such combinations which will make a favorable relationship between the 10th and 9th houses. Not only these combinations which I have given, the researchers or students can find many such combinations, the relationship between 9th and 10th houses, along with the luminaries or with Venus and so on. The 7th condition, I would say that Navamsa chart should also be considered like Rasi chart in addition to Navamsa position of the concerning planets. The 8th house being 11th from the 10th and 10th from the 11th signifies the income from profession. The 10th house, 10th shows the karma which one does in particular profession, when the 8th house shows the income which will come after doing that work, which is denoted by the 10th house. So for those in service, thus the 8th house is very important. 8th condition, the karmic control planets taken into consideration with regard to the connections of the luminaries. Okay, the Rahu and Ketu plays major role also, like Venus and 9th and 10th houses. And okay, the 6th house matters with regard to services, and hence one should analyze the 6th house and its lord's position for the success in service matters. Last but not least, we must also find out the strength of the 8th, 9th, 10th lord's positions and their influences from the moon chart also. Okay. So these are some combinations which are very, very similar, I mean, very unique in nature, which a candidate who appear for examination of IAS may be successful, right? Now, this author, in fact, I happened to read this author's article way back in 1990. One Dr. Mrs. Marutula Trivedi, she was the Lucknow chapter Indian Council of Astrological Sciences chairperson. Those days in 1990, she wrote a couple of books also in astrology, in Hindi, right? I'm giving you some homework for the audience. I hope Dhilip sir will share the PPTs with you, or you will watch the YouTube. This some homework I've given the details, birth details of 3 people for IAS and 2 people of IPS. One of the IPS birth details, Mrs. Kiran Bedi, who's still active and alive. So I think this opportunity in preparing this PPT, one of my classmates in ICAS batch, Mr. V. Ramakrishnan, and technical support from my close relative, Mr. Karthik. And besides all these things, I must really thank Mr. Dhilip Kumar ji for having given me a golden opportunity to share my thoughts in his forum. It's the greatest privilege. Yeah, I would say that it's a kind of an entry or admission I got into Harvard Business School. Because being a B school faculty, we always admire Harvard Business School, right? So thank you, everybody, sir, particularly. And if anything you want me to add, I will add.
Thank you, Dr. Ramki Murugan. It was a wonderful session, all neatly arranged. You have brought it down into, a pattern, and pattern recognition is the most important thing in astrology. You had presented the case very well. The combinations were delineated right in the beginning. It was a professional work, and then you later substantiated it with live examples. I'm sure there will be a lot of maybe you can take some few questions from the students if you don't mind. Do you have the time?
Yeah, sure. Of course, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, and I also wish to tell my students right now in this audience, there is an IAS officer and there is an IPS officer. Okay, but they wish to remain. They wish to remain anonymous.
Incognito.
Incognito. Unless they themselves come forward and talk, that's a different matter. Okay, so some new points were given to us. So anybody has something to say, ask, or clarify, please raise your hand. And let's wait for, then I'll give you the opportunity to ask Dr. Ramki Murugan, who's right now doing a PhD in astrology from ICAS. Okay? Yeah. Anybody? Yes, Srinivasa. Please go ahead. You can unmute.
Thank you, sir. That was a wonderful presentation. Sir, I would like to know, are these combinations need to be confirmed in Dashamsha also? Because these works like services are meant for the society, right? How will it impact the person's Dashamsha?
I like to answer this question on behalf of Dr. Ramki Murugan. He has done a research where he had used the fundamental aspects that it was more connected to the Navamsha, because the Navamsha is the main chart in all divisional charts, right? For centuries, that Navamsha has been given a lot of importance, and even Brihad Jataka has given a rule about profession based on only Navamsha and not Dashamsha. Okay, but since Dr. Ramki did not discuss D10, we can leave it at that. We need not ask why was it not discussed, okay? Because he had used the conventional method of Rashi and Navamsha. We as students of astrology, if you want, because he's given the details are in that slide. So, and plus maybe in the long run, our students can get more details of IAS and IPS. Then we will do a separate session with Dashamsa. Okay? Hope that answers, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Maybe you can also find the difference of patterns based on IPS and IAS.
Oh, you want to say what is the difference between IPS and IAS? Okay.
Maybe some combination differences must be there.
Yeah. Okay. We will definitely we will do some more research, and on that day again we'll invite Dr. Ramki Murugan, who would definitely be able to give us more details. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Actually, this Mars may have a better role to play for IPS also. Yeah,
correct.
Maybe,
because
you're right.
Yeah, because Mars is the warrior planet, and more to do with weapons and all the criminals. Then
Uniforms.
So most probably Mars might be active, and maybe the Sun is more active for IAS officers because they are working very closely with the king, because they're always with the king, right? So there's slight difference. But I think as far as the exams are concerned, they pass almost everything is the same. Only when they come to work, the angles change. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So,
Okay, 1 minute. Kishorji is a chess master. He coach is been into it for many years, and chess is a game
I
of
see.
war, like police or something. So Kishorji, you can ask your question.
Thank you, Guruji, and Guru Bhyo Namaha. Shri Ramki ji, thank you for the presentation. So,
Welcome.
yeah, on a parallel note, there was some time back when I had read a paper published for the very same topic, which is for IPS and IAS. And what I remembered from that paper was the role of the sixth house, the house of challenges.
Okay.
So here, the context of challenges is given more importance to IPS and IAS and ICS or whatever competitive exams that we are talking about, because that is the one that propels the person to come out from the competition of, let us say, 1 lakh candidates and succeed. You may have all the yogas and everything that will give you all the comforts in life, but if the sixth house of challenges, if the sixth house is not strong, or the sixth lord is not strong, and especially the score, Ashtakvarga score in sixth house, I'm not talking about Ashtakvarga score here because Guruji said it was not mentioned, so we'll keep it aside. But since the sixth house or sixth lord was not mentioned, was it because of a reason, or do you think that we need to, keep that also in mind to see whether the challenges, whether the competitive exams are passed through? Because it's not an easy exam. It is one of the toughest exams to come across. And without the competition success in the chart, then all the other yogas may give wealth and pleasures, but not the passage of the exam. So would you like to throw some light on your experience, or is it possible to show the slide again to have a look at the sixth house and the sixth lord, Ramkiji, if it is not too much of a bother?
No, I agree with you,
Wait a-
Mr. Kishore.
before
the
that,
sixth house is equally important.
Before that, Dr. Ramki Murugan,
Yes, sir.
if you are okay with the question, you can give the answer. Otherwise, you can pass. Okay. So there is no compulsion that you have to answer every question.
Analyzing the sixth house is entirely going to be different, but sixth house, never, as I said, it's important. Okay. And we'll take it for the further discussion because it requires analysis. If analyze sixth house, we have to analyze individually and find the most important part or influence of sixth house. Sixth house is equally like 8th and 10th houses, right?
Okay.
We'll take it further and a later discussion on that.
Thank you.
I was surprised when I was actually surprised when Dr. Ramki showed the statistics of how many people pass. And when I came to know it is 0.1%, I was shocked. And, my respect to all the IAS officers and IPS officers, two of them are here. It grew, and then suddenly I remembered them, and I then contacted them and I said, I'm sorry, I should have invited you before the meeting. And I invited, and they were humble enough to join, right? So I was shocked with the low percentage of the pass. Okay, that means their horoscope
Because,
must be extremely unique, right?
Yeah. Yes. All right.
Yeah. Okay. There were some issues about your Wi-Fi. Your voice was, it was breaking up here and there. But for all the students, when you watch the video again after I record it, you can go through the slides because Dr. Ramki Murugan has, done the slides so well. So all the rules are there. So even if the voice is not all right, you can still read out from the text that was given in the PowerPoint presentation. Wonderful work. Okay, who goes next? Krishna.
Thank you.
Krishna from USA. Oh, he's not there? Okay. Aarti Maheshwari.
Oh, sorry, I lowered my hand. I did not unmute myself.
I see.
I don't know what. Sorry. So thank you for doing this session. It's very informative. Looking for something more along these lines. So my question is first question is it more about success in an exam or is it more about that career itself that these combinations give the success? For example, maybe you are able to succeed in the exam, but you're not actually able to actually get the job or excel in that job.
This is an interesting question because it's talking about only the success in exams. Success career that goes as the data booking and the transit will have to clear, right? This is pertaining only to pass out examinations successfully.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think I answered.
But
Second,
but one thing, Krishna, before that, we can also say, even though the passing has happened, ultimately, what is the purpose? They have to be in a particular job for a life, until they retire. So they have a great role to play in the society. It's not an ordinary profession. It is something. So therefore, the passing and the later profession would definitely have some connections, right? So when you pass the exam, where is it leading to? It is leading to becoming an IAS officer and IPS officer. So if that is true, then it's not just passing the exam. If you take only competition, because you can pass in, you can win in sports, you can win in so many, like even quiz or anything where maybe sixth house is very important. Like we saw chess players, grandmasters, world champions having a lot of sixth house connection. Maybe that is also the basis. But what they finally do, they work for the king. They're very closely associated with the king, the ruler. So they get a lot of ruling powers, as Dr. Ramki said, and we all know IAS officers and IPS officer are a class apart from everybody else. So, I mean,
thank you.
Guruji,
that was my second, going to be my second question, because it's IAS, IPS, it's all probably in the last 100 years. So I'm just assuming, depending on, they say Desha Kala Patra or something,
Yes.
maybe 200 years from now, it is just success in a career that puts you in the government job or
who works with the king, more towards king, yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Next.
Hello, Ramki ji. This is Aarti.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I have a doubt. I have a doubt regarding this. As you said, like one of the combination is there in which we have a connection should be there in the 8th house with the 9th and the 10th house. The planets in the 8th house had some connection with the 9th and 10th house. So in if I remember correctly, one of the slide in which Mars is there in the 8th house, and it's having its 8th aspect on the 9th and the 10th house. In one of them. So if Mars, as we know, it's a natural malefic planet. Mars is a natural malefic, and so any planet should be there. Like we should not consider like it's natural malefic or it's natural benefic. We should see just some kind of connection should be there.
This Mars is Yoga Karaga in that particular chart. If I remember rightly, the Mars is actually Yoga Karaga. It must be a Leo Lagna or Cancer Lagna. So when Mars is an Yoga Karaga, it becomes functional benefic. So you have to take it in that way. You should not take it. It's a natural. Should not take it as a natural malefic. Hope Sir Dhilip sir may give more light on that.
Okay, so if for the other lagnas, if I have a connection with the 8th house and some natural malefic is there, so should I take that connection or no?
No, connection only.
Because
you do not have to. No, I'm sorry, Aarti. You have to take the owners of the planets only. Here, you don't take it as natural benefits or natural malefic. Okay.
Okay, so just I want to confirm it once again. So like for the Leo and the Cancer, we know that the Mars is the Raj Yoga, so it's okay. Like for the other lagnas, if it is not the Raj Yoga Karka and it's a natural malefic planet, so we should not take, we should consider this connection should be, we should not connect this connection as a good connection because it will hinder it.
Yeah,
The
maybe. See, if Mars does not own the 9th or 10th house, then naturally we have to take Mars as a malefic planet only, right? When when it becomes the owner of 9th and 10th house only, it becomes Yoga Karaka, correct?
Okay,
Or
yes.
for example, if it's 4th house lord or 5th house lord, or even for that matter 9th house lord, exalted for instance, but the exalted house doesn't actually belong to any of these houses which we discussed, then we can take Mars as a favorable one. So it depends on the analysis, I mean, the position and the ownership or lordship of the Mars. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Muruganji.
Welcome, Auntie. Anything else, sir?
Sir, I have one more question, sir. Maybe you already explained it, but I want to ask again.
Yes.
There is 8th house is 8th house lord is, or 8th house as they are not considered as good lords for any horoscope. But we are here considering the conjunction of 8th lord and like that. Why? Just
because it concerns the job, 6th, 8th house both are related to the job matters, service.
Job
When you're in service, actually the houses of 6th and 8th houses must be considered. The beginning, the beginning slides itself, it is mentioned.
Okay.
In the beginning slides itself, it is mentioned.
Yes, sir.
According to, in fact, Dr. Dhilip. Yeah. For the service matters, the 8th house, 6th house matter a lot. Okay.
For any job, sir? For these type of jobs?
No, for any jobs. For
any job.
8th house, 6th house must be considered. Right.
Okay. Got it, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Fine.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I think we can stop. Thank you.
Okay.
So today we had a wonderful session, and it was really impressive. And we hope to have more wonderful, sessions like this again. You can see a lot of feedback is coming on the chat. So we'll meet again. Maybe next time we'll have more example charts, and we will look at it from all the angles that you have taught us. So thank you so much again. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ram.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for the homework. We will get back again.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, we can definitely call him again after a month or so, and you can make some presentations.
Yes,
sir. Even my daughter also had an. I asked we had a discussion. After I know the topic, and she said, sun and moon may play a big role, but but it was
okay. Yeah,
I
but actually, but actually, Dr. Ramke Murugan also reminded us, just the fact that the moon, the queen is sitting in 9th or 10th, or sun sitting in 9th or 10th is not enough, because you need some more combinations, right? Otherwise, as he pointed out, the sun may have many other professions, the moon may have many other professions. They might also come into play. So we need to do the regular thing that we always do in class. Stack up. How many more points can you find out from a horoscope? All pointing to the same thing. That's where it works. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Check.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, yeah.
I also wish to thank the IAS officer and the IPS officer who, despite the fact that I invited them a little later after the meeting, they attended. Thank you, sir, and thank you, madam. So
Thank you very much.
yeah, we'll stop here. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to end the meeting. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.